Okay, y'all, this is going to be a quick, short little video. I'm just going to show you how I'm going to set up a PCV system on this 318 Mopar with the Speedmaster intake. If y'all are running something similar to this, you'll know there's only one vacuum port available on the back of that intake, and it's right behind the carburetor right there. It's currently got a plug in it. And depending on what type of carburetor you're running, this is a 650 FST, which is based off a Highly. Same thing, it's a quick fuel Proform. I mean, there's a bunch of copies of it out there, but it's based off of Highly. This base plate only has one vacuum port on the back of it, and I currently have it hooked to the brake booster, so I'm gonna have to get kind of creative on the routing of this vacuum line for the PCV so that it doesn't interfere with my fuel line or my secondary accelerator pump. So what I went and done is I scrounged all over every parts store, and it seems to be that AutoZone is the only one that carries these. This is a 90-degree elbow with a hose barb on it. It is 3/8 MPT thread. So I'm going to use that hopefully to angle this back towards the driver's side, where I'm going to have a breather to match that breather, but this one has PCV built into it, so should be pretty straightforward. This twin breather setup I got identical breathers on both sides. It's not ideal. This is just a temporary thing I did to get this project up and running, and we took it on a little cruise last weekend, and if you notice, there's some oil starting to push out of that breather. So before it gives us any other trouble as far as pushing out gaskets or anything, we're going to go ahead and run a PCV on this thing. Now, one thing you might want to be careful of, AutoZone is kind of tricky on these things. There's two different part numbers here. As you can see, this one says push in breather, but it does not have a PCV built into it. And this one looks identical, but it has PCV built into it. So just be careful. Should be pretty obvious because this one is double the price of this one. So, but if not, there's the part number for you. 4284 is the one with the PCV, and 4278 is just the push-in breather with a vacuum line, like if you wanted to run it to your air cleaner or whatnot. So just be careful with that. I'm gonna jump in here, take out this plug, and then install this nipple or pipe fitting and get to running this line. A few of you viewers are pretty sharp, eagle-eyed. Y'all pointed out in my last video that I had this rocker shaft upside down. That just goes to show y'all, no matter how slow you go and how many notes you take and whatever, you can still make mistakes. So I appreciate y'all for pointing that out to me. I'm gonna go ahead and flip this one upside down so we can get the proper oiling on this driver's side rocker shaft. And we'll put the valve cover back on it. We should be able to test out this PCV valve. I'm not sure how I missed this, especially as many times as I had this thing apart. Especially during the assembly process when I preached about having these rocker shafts orientated correctly. But you can see that notch with some red paint. That should be pointing towards the center line of the engine, towards the crankshaft. So it's obviously upside down. So let's bust these bolts loose and make it correct. I know it might be kind of hard to see, but if you look in between the distributor and the carburetor there, you can see that nipple that I installed. It's a 90-degree elbow, and I pointed it towards the driver's side valve cover because that's where I'm picking up the PCV at is over here. And as you can see, it's pretty simple. It's just push in breather with PCV built into it, and the vacuum line runs right over to the port on the intake. Now this is just temporary. I'm gonna test it out, make sure everything works fine. I'll clean up how that wire, how that vacuum line is routed. But yeah, just a quick little video for y'all if you was wondering if you had one of these Speedmaster or Chinese intakes, how to set up a PCV on it with a Holley style carburetor.